Hi, I'm Ingrid Tischer. I'm the Director of Development with Disability Rights Education and Defense Fund, also known as DREDF. I wanted to tell you a little about who we are, what we do, and most importantly, why we do what we do. Disability is an incredibly common experience, and it's hard to imagine a single family that doesn't have at least one disabled family member. And yet, this incredibly common experience, a thing that could unite us, is also incredibly isolating. And that isolation leads to things like poverty, homelessness, unemployment, lack of education, and even incarceration. That's where DREDF's work as a cross disability legal and policy center comes in. We work on the systems level to advance our mission of increasing civil and human rights for all people with disabilities. We do that through legal advocacy, the development of fair public policy, training, and education. We have a headquarters in Berkeley, and we have an office in DC. And we leverage our relatively small group with many relationships with organizations, activists, and networks. What we do is expand access to things like healthcare, transportation, education, government services and benefits, and employment. About 1/3 of what we do is about advancing the rights of students with disabilities. I said something before about building bridges, and I want to say that one thing that's really important is that nothing that we do really gets done in isolation. Much of the most important work we've done has been done because we have great relationships with really great allies. And some of those allies are people who might be you. And that's why I want you to know what we're doing in 2022. As you can imagine, the pandemic has pretty much driven our work in the last year or so, and it has disproportionately affected disabled communities. We've been hit disproportionately with it, and we've also had it been entwined with things related to things like race, gender, weight, income, and many other things. So in 2022, what we are planning to do is continue ensuring that Californians who are lower income and who need community-based care and do receive it, and that it is related to their risk for COVID, serious illness, or death. We're going to make sure that our special education work is about ensuring that disabled students do benefit academically with remote learning, and we'll be doing that through our Know Your Rights work that is offered in Spanish and English to parents, child welfare professionals, and many other people. We'll be making sure that people who are very reliant on electricity, like disabled people who are maybe having COVID or who are convalescent, don't have their power cut off when the public utilities do a shutdown. We'll also be continuing our lawsuit that's called Disability Rights California versus Alameda County that affects people who have mental health disabilities, but who don't receive adequate community-based services. These folks are forced to cycle through locked psychiatric facilities and the county jail. And this is putting them at disproportionate exposure to COVID, because those are two settings where the rates of infection are extremely high. This particular case has a great deal of importance to people who are Black and who live with mental health disabilities because they're disproportionately affected by it. So that's just a taste of what's coming up in 2022. We hope that you'll go to dredf.org and keep learning about us. And please do sign up for action alerts, because making sure all of our voices are included on these issues is integral to what we do. Thank you so much for listening to this. I hope that you have a wonderful, safe, and restful rest of your holiday season. And thank you so much for being in solidarity with DREDF and with all people who have disabilities. Thank you.